Okay, boys and girls, today's session for our writer's workshop asks us to go back to revisit our thesis statements and our main ideas. All right. During the course of this week, you've been kind of working with your body paragraphs, and some of you have been struggling, and one of the reasons why you may be struggling is that perhaps you need to go back and revise your thesis statement and or your main ideas. Okay, so I want to bring you back to our mentor text that we used at the very beginning when we did our inquiry and take a look at it. Remember, we talked about our thesis statements are either going to be about the character, a statement about the character, and in our case, because of the video that we're using, we're talking about the whole football team as a character. So we can make a statement about them. Raise your hand if you are making a statement about the character in your thesis statement. Okay. We're just going to share a couple. And I think that it would probably be a really good strategy for you to jot these down. Because you're going to want to be able to come back and refer to it. So as always, we're going to put our date up at the corner. That way we can find it. This is like our page number. Okay. And raise your hand again because I lost track of who. Tania, could you read me your thesis statement, please?
The Kanye football team shows that whenever you face a challenge, you can make a difference.
Okay, so I actually, when you're saying that, it sounds more to me like yours is a theme. Because when we focus on a character, we're going to focus on character traits. Okay, remember our mentor text where we talked about the thesis statement for this is dog is a good friend. Okay, the character was dog. And we said dog is a good friend because he is caring. That's caring is a character trait. Dog is a good friend because he is loyal. Loyal is a character trait. Dog is a good friend because he sees the best in others, being an optimist, okay, being positive. That's a character trait. Now, it sounds to me, Tania, that you may be trying to make a statement of the theme. Okay, so I want to do character first, and then we'll move on to theme. So hold on to your thesis statement. You may end up having to go ahead and revise it. Matthew, do you have a character? Did you have your hand up for a character? Can you read me your thesis statement? Open up in your book where it is and read it to me.
The Kanye football club is hopeful when hard times come.
Okay, can I see it? Okay, well that's a problem. It's not written the way it's supposed to be. And I think that yours, you need to listen because I can make the same comment about your thesis as I made about Tania's. Because yours sounds like a theme. Okay? Brian, help us out.
The Kanye football club did not stop trying despite all the challenges and haters.
Okay, and again, I think we have to be careful. We don't want to have this hybrid where we don't know whether it's the theme or not. So let me give you an example. This is from the other class. One of the students said, the Panier Football Club video, actually just the Panier Football Club were courageous. And I think that there are actually a lot of different terms that we could use to describe them. I don't think there's necessarily just one. Yes, Gianna? No, because they're a group. Good question. Connor?
I have another.
Okay, give me another one.
In the Cartoon Football Club video, the villagers of Jenny and James have the same team.
Okay, and somebody in the other class is also writing an essay about the villagers. They wanted to say that. They wanted to talk about in the Panier Football Club video. The villagers, because they're also a character there, and it's the villagers. They're plural, but it's also possessive. Their minds were changed. So both of these are examples of thesis statements in which we are talking about the character, or either the character of the football club or the character of the villagers. Okay. Now, when we are coming up with our main ideas for this, we're really going to be focusing on the character. And so the main ideas for a character thesis statement are going to be the characters, actions, words, their dialogue, their inner thoughts and feelings, and their decisions. Okay, so when we're thinking about a character and making a statement about a character in our thesis statement, then we're going to focus on the things that the character, the things that they say, the things that they do, the things that they think or feel, the decisions that they make. So each main idea is going to focus on one of those. You don't need to focus on all of those, but you need to focus on one of those. Okay, does that help? For those of you who are writing about the character, does that help? Yes, Ryan?
Question.
Yes.
Am I writing about the character or the theme?
I don't know. Are you? Which one do you want to write about?
You said that I was like to me and him that he's out there.
Is your thesis statement like this? Similar to something like this? If your thesis statement is similar to something like this, then you are writing about the character. Let's move on to the theme and we'll see if that makes it clearer to you. You can go ahead and draw a line across. Okay, so now let's focus on theme statements. Tania, would you give me yours again? Whenever we face a challenge, what? Can you turn your head this way so I can hear you?
Whenever we face a challenge, you can make it.
Okay. So let's go ahead and say the theme. Of the Panier Football Club video is, now I think we have to be careful because it almost sounds to me like you're kind of smushing together too. The first one that I could hear was that about facing a challenge. So what was the message about facing a challenge? Do you think? Think about all of you who are writing about theme. Matthew, I need you to focus or I'm going to send you back to your seat. Isabel?
The theme of the Panya Football Club video is that hardwood pays off.
Okay, but did you hear my question? I asked you, what are they saying about a challenge? Because Tania had the idea of challenge, but then she also had making a difference, which seems to me like two separate ones. Callie, can you help us out? Okay, the theme of the Panier Football Club video is when you use teamwork, you can overcome challenges. Okay, I definitely think we get that message. Okay. All right, so this is definitely talking about the Panier Football Club video. Does anybody have a different thesis? Gianna?
It's not that different, but...
Okay, I just need a different one, just so that, read it to me, maybe we can, okay, so I think yours is very similar to, the wording is just different, but you're saying the same thing. Does somebody have a different one completely? Isabel? Okay. In the Panier Football Club video, the theme is I think we're good, Ryan. Okay, so these are two examples of thesis statements that have to do with the theme. Okay, now I want to, when we did this unit, our unit of study in 4th grade for literary essay, remember the character thesis statements were the first bend, and then the theme thesis statements were the second bend. And we haven't really closely looked at the mentor text. Now, this is the mentor text from the 3rd bend. How it's different is that it is actually comparing and contrasting 2 different books with the same theme. For those of you who were with me last year, we did Fox and Junkyard Wonders and how they were similar in theme. But when you're writing a thesis statement about the theme, the message, I want you to keep in mind this very important thing. You are being asked to point out how that message was developed by the author. Okay, so you kind of have to think inside. It's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging. You have to stop and think, well, how did the producers of this video, how did they develop this theme? How did I come to know that this was the theme? All right, and when you are talking about that, I want to draw your attention to the mentor text, to look at the very first body paragraph. To begin, the characters in the Junkyard Wonders and Fox are used to develop the theme. So if we're talking about the characters in the first body paragraph, in the second body paragraph, we're talking about, in addition to the characters, both authors use the settings to develop the theme. And in the third body paragraph, we say, finally, both Patricia Polacco and Margaret Weil use figurative language to develop the theme. What are we focusing on for our main ideas? What are those things? Characters, figurative language. setting. What are those things called? Rossi?
It's called story element.
Yes, story elements. Were you picturing that chart that we keep using all the time in your brain? Okay, so we're focusing on the story elements because that's how an author, in this case, a producer of a video, that's what they're going to do when they are going to develop the theme. So you realize the development of this theme, so your main ideas are going to focus on story elements. So your main idea sentences are going to basically say the theme, the authors develop the theme through the characters or maybe through the setting. Okay, so if we think about hard work pays off, right? What was hard, Isabel, that was yours, right? What was hard for the characters, the football club in the video? What was hard? To make space, right? Because they lived on an island. So what would that be? What story element would that be, Gianna? What story element would the space be? What story element would the space be? Setting. Okay? So the fact that they had no field, that's the setting. So your main idea would be about the setting. Can you see that? What are some of the other story elements that were used to develop the theme? Ryan?
In the Panier Football Club, I remember at one part it was talking about how the floors, when they were trying to build their own little field, that how the floors, the little nails were popping up.
But isn't that still the setting? That would be the setting?
Yeah, that's a detail.
Well, it is a detail. If it's not the setting, I think it might be a different story element, though. Might be a different one. Do you have an idea what it might be? What? Oh, there you go. Does that fit better, Ryan? Yeah. So that was a problem. So the problem and how it was solved. So, Ryan, if you were using this, you could say as your main idea sentence that the producers of the Panier Football Club video used problems and their solutions to develop the theme. And then you could talk about the nails sticking out. Okay? And what the solution was they pulled all the nails out. They tried to make it smooth. Okay, so hopefully this is going to help you in revisiting your thesis, because some of you were really struggling earlier this week. So hopefully this is going to help you to revisit your thesis and your main ideas. And that may mean that you are going to have to revise them. Okay? But if you revise them, it's very possible that it's going to make it much more easier for you to write your body paragraphs. Okay? All right, so